March Madness is supposed to be chaos. Buzzer beaters, Cinderella stories, brackets getting destroyed overnight. But lately that chaos has been disappearing. Last year told us everything we needed to know. There were 4 clear-cut best teams in college basketball, and for the first time in a long time, all 4 of them made the Final Four. No surprises, no underdog crashes, just pure dominance. And this season, it feels like we're heading down the same exact path. A small group of teams has completely separated from the field. The gap between the elite and everyone else has never felt wider. When the same teams win every night and the same names stay locked at the top, March Madness stops feeling mad and starts feeling predictable. So the question is, are college basketball super teams about to give us one of the most boring tournaments we've seen in years? And what happens to March Madness when the madness is gone? In this video, we're going to talk about why this gap exists, how NIL and roster construction have helped create it, and whether March Madness has enough chaos left to save us. Because if dominance is the new normal in college basketball, then the most unpredictable tournament in sports might not be so unpredictable anymore. So yes, there is still a lot of chaos in college basketball. There's a lot of upsets, there's a lot of uncertainty. Miami of Ohio is 20-0. Nebraska's 20-0. I don't think anyone expected that going into the year. So yes, there's still upsets, there's still crazy things that happen. But we have to look at last year. With the 4-1 seeds, the 4 teams that separated themselves prior to the tournament in the net rankings, all made it to the Final Four and all somewhat coasted. So, this year, there was a tweet last night, I will put it right here, that I saw. There are 13 total losses from the AP Top 10 heading into Week 13. For example, 2 years ago, there were 34 losses at the same time for the AP Top 10. 13 to 34. That is massive. That is a massive loss. And if you look at the AP Top 10, it's Arizona, UConn, Michigan, Duke, Nebraska, Gonzaga, Michigan State, Iowa State, Illinois, and Houston. Now, Houston's at 10. Houston was the number 1 team in the country to start the year. They were ranked number 1. They are 17-2. And they can barely crack the top 10. Some people think they shouldn't be in the top 10. They have losses at Texas Tech and on a neutral floor to Tennessee, and they can barely crack the top 10. Just to show how dominant and top-heavy the sport is right now. You look at the Big 12. The top 6 teams in that conference, Arizona, Iowa State, Texas Tech, Kansas, BYU, and Houston. After that, it's a big drop-off. You have UCF, who's a projected 8 seed, and you have TCU, who's right on the bubble. After that, there's a lot of teams that are on the outside, barely looking in. So what's to make of all of this? Is it NIL? Is it eligibility? Is it 25-year-olds that are taking the spots of 18-year-olds? Is it freshmen being dealt $6 million to come to a certain school? I don't know. Are we going to see a March Madness that is the chalkiest March Madness we've seen in ever? I think it's a real possibility. Arizona and Michigan are both currently minus money. There's a better chance they make it to the Final Four according to Vegas than they don't. It is January 27th. That is unheard of. Arizona on BetMGM is plus 375 to win the whole thing. It's January 27th. We don't see that. And look, I'm not trying to go at these teams that spent a lot of money or have professional players from overseas playing. I'm not, you take advantage of the rules. That's what you do. If you don't, you're going to get left behind. And it's just, you want to see when March Madness rolls around, you fell in love with this game because of the uncertainty. You fell in love with this game because of Florida Gulf Coast beating Georgetown, right? Because of Missouri losing to I forget who in March Madness. Because of Yale beating Baylor and, Taurean Prince doing his whole thing. That's why you fell in love with this game as a kid. And now it's even last year, there were barely any upsets. The biggest upset was Arkansas beating St. John's in the second round, and that was a 10-2 matchup. And yes, that was a big upset, but it feels like the days of a 13 beating a 4 or 14 beating a 3 are just way past us with NIL and professionals playing. And look, I could be wrong. Because St. Peter's made that run, and that wasn't that long ago. That was 2022. And obviously, a lot has changed since then, but a lot is still the same. So we will see what happens. I want to hear what you guys have to think about March Madness and where college basketball is currently at. Because from what I'm seeing, Arizona, Duke, and Michigan are way ahead of the pack. They're even way ahead of UConn. And it reminds me a lot of last season with those 4 top teams that just separated themselves from the rest of the pack and made it to the Final Four. Right now, those are the clear 3, and I'm curious to see if maybe a UConn or a Houston or maybe an Illinois, Michigan State start dominating and become that 4th team that, people think, okay, this team's going to the Final Four. Like, write it in. I wouldn't put it past UConn. I wouldn't put it past Izzo and Michigan State. So we'll see what happens. But look, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys think this has become an issue. If, the chaos and the fun and the juice that came with college basketball is just a thing of the past. Let me know. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're going to have recaps, previews, reactions, analysis like this coming every single week, 2 to 3, 4 times a week maybe. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. And yeah, this is CBB Today. I'm Spencer Ostroff. Peace.